This video is a response to a challenge made by the fantastic Nando V Movies to his fans to highlight and explain their choice for one marvelous scene. Your favorite scene from the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe in the lead up to Endgame. Check out One Marvelous Scene for more, link in the description and at the end of the video. Some superheroes are easier to adapt than others. Whether they are near universal fan and pop culture favorites, or uniquely suited for the language of cinema, some characters will, typically, show up on screen far more than others. Warner Bros. And DC will always be pumping out Batman flicks because they are highly versatile. Others find success by adapting to alternative genres, playing with the contrast between character, setting, and tone, like Guardians of the Galaxy's punk space opera. A few, though, have the unenviable task of adapting something that is anchored for one reason or another, something defined by its unchanging nature in a changing world. Their ideas are too simple, their approach too unsophisticated, their appearance too silly. To change them would rob them of something that makes them special, but to include them as is usually threatens to unbalance the believability of the film. So how did Marvel learn to get around this problem early on and go on to make billions of dollars off the likes of Talking Raccoons and Paul Rudd?
Strong and brave, here to save the American way. Who vows to fight like a man for what's right night and day?
The Star-Spangled Man is an over-the-top, bright and colorful Busby Berkeley-esque musical number near the end of the first act of Captain America: The First Avenger, a film that is otherwise a sci-fi war film. The show is a recreation of the type of acts that would tour America throughout the early 1940s, selling war bonds, which is like buying stock in your nation during a war to the profit of not losing the war. These events would often feature multiple acts, including singers, dancers, and comics, and helped raise over $185 billion for the war. After the success of the Super Soldier Serum and the tragic loss of its creator, Steve has found himself shuffled off to the USO, an unreproducible test subject that his superiors felt could be better used drawing crowds for war bond sales. While he certainly is successful at that, at first he is uncertain and uncomfortable, an unfortunately goofy-looking figure having trouble with clunky dialogue, in a costume that is both era stage quality and early comics accurate. Embarrassed at first about the show and his appearance, he is reminded of the core values that got him chosen in the first place, leading to him embracing this ridiculous stage persona that had been forced on him and making the most of it. These are the principles the Star-Spangled Man sequence reinforced that have made Marvel successful in the first place. Always embrace the weird. Endgame is no doubt going to be the weirdest MCU film to date, if speculation is to be believed, and that weirdness is one of the reasons all of these films work. By leaning hard into the old-fashioned, cheesy, ridiculous aspects of what a character named Captain America would entail, in a sequence that embraces the cultural quirks of the same era, and presenting a fantastic nod to the cover of Captain America Issue 1, Marvel and director Joe Johnston, who also directed the wonderfully Art Deco adventure The Rocketeer, were then able to build a more realistic and modernly sensible version of the character on the presented original framework, cementing the original ideals that made the character matter, without having to betray any aspect to create a grittier or more starkly relatable version for audiences who many still presume to be jaded or cynical towards idealism. A formula for further adaptations that has proven to be monumentally successful. It's also a lot of fun, and that's why it's my one marvelous scene.